I am going to show you how to make a biscuit mix. Now, you can buy the boxed kind, but I don't really like that. So I like to make my own biscuit mix. And today I'm using White Lily, and I like White Lily because of the type of flour it is. It's an enriched, bleached white flour, and it is very, very good. It makes you have tender, delicious biscuits. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to put this together. There's just 3 ingredients: self-rising flour, baking soda, and butter flavored Crisco. So I'm going to show you a different way. You can use a pastry cutter to cut in the Crisco, or you can use 2 knives to do it, but I am going to show you how I use my mixer today to do that. So let's get started. Okay, so I'm going to measure out my flour, and I'm going to need 2 cups of flour, or for 1 cup is 125 grams. So I'm going to zero my scale out, and I'm going to measure in 125 grams. Now I like to do it by weight, just because when you do it in baking, when you measure it by volume, which is what you do when you do a cup, you could get a little more or a little less. And I just like for it to be more exact. So I'm going to measure out 125. Okay, there we go. And then when I like to sift it. Now I weigh it out first, and then I sift it. I put it through my sifter. I just like the way it comes out better. Okay, so we're going to put that in there, and we'll give this a little shake. Now sifting gets out all your lumps, okay? And if you can see inside of there, you can see the lumps that come out, and you just don't want all of those lumps. So you just take and push them through your sifter, and voila. Okay, I'm going to do one more, 125 grams. Okay, here we go. And then what I'm going to do, I like to do it 2 cups at a time. And then once I make the biscuit mix, I'll put it in a storage container so you can use it for later. Now with this biscuit mix, you can make, of course, biscuits, but you can use also the mix, you can use it to make pancakes with. You can use it to make topping for cobbler. You can use it to do waffles. It's got a variety of uses. Alright, so I've got my flour in there. Then I'm going to do a teaspoon of baking soda. And you may ask, well, why are you using baking soda if you've got self-rising flour? It's one of those cases where that's what the recipe calls for. So we want to do what the recipe calls for. Now, I'm going to take a 1/4 cup of Crisco, butter flavored Crisco. I enjoy the way that tastes much, much better. Then we're going to put it into our mixer. And we're going to mix it for 1 minute on the lowest speed. Okay, so let me get my timer set. And then we'll put it on low speed and mix it for 1 minute. Okay, there's my timer. You want to do it for 1 minute, because if you do it more than that, it's just not going to turn out right. little bit in here. And you can see how when you take it, it clumps together a little bit. That's how you know that it's cut in. Now I'm going to save this because I'm going to show you how to make biscuits. Okay, so let's get started on our biscuits. Now I've got a cutting board that I have laid out here, and when you lay your cutting board out, it wants to move. A little secret is to take a wet paper towel, lay it down underneath the cutting board, then lay the cutting board on top, and now your cutting board will not move on you. Okay, so I've got my biscuit mix here, 2 cups of biscuit mix here, and what I am going to do is add my buttermilk. Now, one thing I've learned with this cup here, where you can see the measurement on the side, it's kind of hard to see on this marble, but if you put it on this white surface, you can see it beautiful. So it might be a tip for you if you're trying to see that. So I'm going to pour out 1 cup. Now, we may use 3/4 of a cup. It may not take a whole cup, but I'm going to go ahead and measure out whole cup because it probably will. Now, what I like to do is just take and put a hole in the center of my buttermilk, of my mix, pour our buttermilk in, and then I like to just take it and bring the flour in to the middle, and then what you're going to do is just give it a nice stir until it all comes together. Now, before you get started, you should go ahead and heat your oven to 450 degrees. And that is, I'm going to need the rest of that buttermilk. Okay, and then once it all comes together, take a little bit of flour and put over your work surface. Then it's a little bit ooey and gooey, but that won't last long. We'll take and put a little bit of flour over the top. And then we're going to knead this about 7 times. Okay, so you're going to take and bring to the center, fold it over, fold it over. We still got to get our flour mixed in there so it's not so gummy. Okay, and we're going to need a little bit more. More flour. Okay, now we're looking good. Now we're going to start our kneading. Bring it to the center, then your sides over. That's going to count as 2. 6. And then the last one is 7. You only want to do about 7 because you don't want to get your dough too worked up. Then you're not going to have flaky biscuits. Okay. Right now what I'm going to do is give it a little bit of flour there and a little bit on top. Now when you make it, you're going to get flour everywhere, and that's okay. That's just part of making biscuits. Okay, now I'm going to pat this out. Now I don't want to pat it too far, because then you're going to have some small biscuits, okay? So that's just part of life. It's real, folks. It's the real deal. Alright, so you're going to take this. I just use a cup. You just take and dip it, and then we're going to go down. And this will make about 8 biscuits. Okay, now these are a little bit on the big side because I want big biscuits. I don't want little biscuits. I want to know I want to know I got a biscuit. Okay. All right, so let's pat that out. Give it a little more flour so it don't get gummy on me. Then you have a little bit of dough here. Now just roll that one out. Looks like we're going to get Looks like we're going to get 9 and a little bit out of this batch. Okay, now that little bit, I don't put that in there because it's too small, and what will happen is this will get well overdone and almost burnt before the rest of them get done, so I don't worry about that little piece, okay? We're going to let our oven come up to temperature, and then we're going to get these baked off. Alrighty, our biscuits are ready. Let's take them out and see what they look like. Oh yeah, those are pretty biscuits. Now when they come out, I like to take just some regular butter and go over the top of them real good with some just regular old butter. Get in all those little nooks and crannies. just go over them twice. Make sure I get them real good, and this just makes them extra delicious. Okay, because if you're going to eat a biscuit and they're full of carbs already, you might as well make it worth your while and have a little bit of butter on it, you know. Alrighty, let's take a look at one of these biscuits. Just see if we can open them up. They're piping hot. Woo! They're hot. Put a little bit of butter on it. Let's take a taste. Mmm. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Mmm. That's how I remember Mama making them. They are so delicious. They are so delicious. So make you some nice hot piping biscuits today. This is Chef Fred with Cooking with Chef Fred, and we'll see you on the next video. Bye for now.